Hey there everyone, so we are here in St. Augustine tonight at the haunted St. Augustine jail. We're about to go inside and do a 1-hour paranormal investigation. I'm here tonight with Emmy and with Rebecca, two of my great friends. And my grandson Brock is with us tonight. He is a paranormal enthusiast and he's also got a camera rig and he is going to be doing some filming as well. Oh boy, that's bright. So we're about to go inside. We have a 1-hour gig here tonight. And we're excited about it, so let's get started.
Now, they built this by a company called the Poly Jail Building and Manufacturing Company. And I know this is a really oddly specific fact, and we bring this up like you guys are all just supposed to know this off the top of your heads. But I swear, I guarantee that you know one of the most infamous prisons they've ever had a hand in building. Alcatraz! Yep, right behind us is the prototype of the Alcatraz. Or as I like to refer to her, the petite mom of the Alcatraz. Now, this is where they came up with a very unique locking mechanism system. It would require multiple guards to engage or disengage just to release those cells, close those cells. Now, that stops guards from having to go individually, one after one, locking or opening each one, stopping their keys from being stolen, stopping them from being shanked, and more importantly, stopped any jailbreak from this facility. Now, once they submitted that wonderful jailbreak-free statistic right out to San Francisco, that's what got them that wonderful contract. Now, they built this as an open-air jail. You guys know what that means. Beyond the bars, there's nothing to protect you from the elements. You are fully subjected to everything Mother Nature has to deliver, and we're really starting to think she doesn't like Florida. Now, you get all of that heat. You deal with all those hurricanes. When the frost forms outside, it forms on those metal bunks on the inside. Now, they didn't have the luxury of heat in this facility. They didn't have air conditioning. We're talking about 1891 when this opened. But more importantly, they actually didn't have plumbing for a good chunk of this property's existence. That forced prisoners to utilize one single bucket per cell to relieve themselves, and they're rarely ever empty. Now that made situations quite difficult as this was a notoriously overcrowded facility. It was built with the sheer intention to only contain 72 souls. But let's be honest, if any of the officials in charge of this property had ever followed that, I guarantee you we would have been sitting in front of it. Now, most of those cells only contain about 4 bunks. In gen population, which is going to be this second floor over here to the north side, those 4 bunks are placed so tight together that really honestly only a petite person shuffling sideways can fit comfortably between those. Now imagine being shoved in there with 8, 12 to 15 individuals fighting over those 4 bunks in that one bucket. Really paint this picture thoroughly for you? Everyone's unbathed here. Bathing was provided once a month in shared bath water. And honestly, that was considered a privilege. They would really quickly yank it away from you. But if they did allow that monthly bathing, share bath water. Now, it's not bad if you're the first. Really disturbing, but still not that bad if you're the 72nd. But who has always been historically last in situations like these? Any guesses? Women. Except we weren't permitted to go the same day. We'd be forced to go the very next day, icy cold, pitch black, and festering water.
Oh.
But let's start talking about the conditions us ladies would endure. We're only kept in 2 cells. For the most part, only allowed to go to a straight line right up to the kitchen. Now, we'd be responsible cooking for all the occupants of this facility, and they have drastically different diets. Now, the inmates, grits, beans, hardtack, and coffee. But those deputies, the sheriff's family, y'all know they're not eating that, but you're responsible for cooking it. So what do all good cooks do when they cook food? They taste it, they sample it. So heaven forbid you were caught sampling something or tasting something that wasn't yours. Chances are you could basically just bet on punishment being delivered before you even had a chance to digest it. Now, we're talking about a kitchen that had wood-burning stoves. So in winter, that room sat about 130 degrees. So imagine August, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 95 degrees easily outside. Can you imagine how hot it is on the inside? Now, many of us ladies would end up passing away from heat stroke or heat exhaustion, and if that didn't claim us, the amount of steam that would develop in the room would blind some of us. But, well, sir, the singular sir, you were afforded the privilege of being able to leave this facility in the mornings, not on your own accord. Now, you're going to be yanked out of your cell and shackled together in a one-size-fits-all shackle. Now, mind you, if you got a little bit thicker proportions, they're going to find a way to make that shackle fit. Now, you, sir, would be taken to work on chain gangs, which are going to expose you to conditions like turpentine camps, building roads to Florida's wet wilderness, and swamp drainage. Expect a minimum of 12-plus hour shifts. No break for food, no break for water, no break to even use the restroom. Now, at the end of these incredibly long shifts, you would expect to come back to something with a roof over your head, wouldn't you? They ain't gonna let it have it. Now, you see, when you're on a chain gang, you're usually leased out in a program called the convict leasing system. Now, this is a program created shortly after the Civil War. The whole intention was to try to make up for the loss of hands after the freedom of slavery. Now, in this program, you're gonna be leased out to individuals, corporations. Wanna know how much they charge for you?
How much?
Take a guess.
50 cents.
$26 for the entire year. Now, eventually they realized they can make a lot of money off you. Your value would go up to $150. You think any of that money would change the conditions you'd endure? No. Now, when you're leased out, you're kept in what I earnestly can only refer to as death camps. Now, these are going to expose this little gentleman over here to the worst of the worst conditions. I mean, conditions you wouldn't even put livestock in, pigs in. Those of all conditions normally claim this gentleman's life. But you look healthy. I think you can last that full year. So at the end of that year, you think you're done, right? You've done hard labor. I mean, even in North Korea, they let you out after that, right?
Yeah.
No. You're forced to come back to this facility, and you're going to complete the rest of your sentence where you left off. They wouldn't credit you for that entire year you're leased out.
Right.
Now, once you start heading back here, everyone develops a spirited attitude. You understand the conditions inside of here. Now, this is a county jail. You ain't going to see a sentence over 5 years. But because the conditions inside, think of the healthiest person you know, throw them up in general population, that soul's not living past a year. But when you come back, really, honestly, everything sinks in. You watch so many of your community members pass away from dehydration, malnutrition. You've seen the disease fester in this place. You watch so many people suffer at the hands of just their fellow community members just to fight over that one bunk. And you've seen the sadistic games of the guards play. Now, the newfound spirited attitude you had to try to protect yourself when you got on site was promptly and aggressively broken by this man sitting right behind me, Sheriff Joe Harry. Now, this man right here was an absolute firm believer that through psychological and physical torture, he could rehabilitate you. Let's be completely honest, guys. That's just to make you pliable for his purposes. Now, some of this man's favorite treatments, one of them's a bird cage. Now, that's all metal cage that'll hoist you up about 50 feet in the air. The big old oak trees at one period of time surrounded the entire property. This is not one singular tree or one singular cage. You could basically bet any single tree with a large enough weight-bearing branch had one. Now, these guys are going to be swinging up in that air for a minimum 3 days. No food, no water, no nothing, and barely enough room to stand. Now, fun fact about Florida, we're one of the lightning capitals of the world, so usually you're in for a shocking experience. If you weren't, you're in for a humiliating experience. As they had a really nasty rumor around town that the sheriff would sell the opportunity for townsfolk, even the kids, to come up and launch rotten fruit and vegetables at these guys swinging up in the air. Now, that being said, though, you make it down, there's stops, there's barrel restraints, and there's water treatments. And it's not a spa day, guys, you're looking at waterboarding. You survive all of that and you still maintain that attitude? Solitary, isolation. Now that's one singular pitch black cell. No bed, no bucket, no blanket. And instead of days, you're locked in that place for weeks and months. Now you're right next to the kitchen. You share a mutual wall. So imagine all that radiant heat bleeding into it. Isolation built like a glorified brick oven. Bricks on all sides of you, poured concrete on the ground, metal over your head, forcing that radiant heat right back down in your cranium. Now, though you're right next to the kitchen, guys, the majority of the time they forget to feed you, and usually when they unlock the door, the sheer intention just to grab a corpse out, putting a live body in there. Now, have you guys ever had that intense anxiety feeling where you feel like you're screaming on the top of your lungs in a room full of people and no one will acknowledge you, listen to you, or anything like that? Now, imagine that being the last weeks and months of your life before your death. Now, with all those horrendous treatments in there, you'd be really curious what the body count in this facility is. Conservative reports? Hundreds. But I mean, these are incredibly conservative reports. But this was shut down in '53. You got quite a few people all throughout St. Augustine that were alive when this was operational. Now, all those locals and myself, we swear by thousands. But we'll truly never really know. When this place was shut down in '53, the records taken as one giant unit, shipped up to our current jail's location off US 1. A couple weeks later, what do you think our good old boys did to it? Torched it. Exactly. They're all lost, so we'll never truly know. And in reality, a lot of us assume that they're quite incomplete. As you see the two big oak trees behind the building, sites of multiple legal hangings. Plus, they never documented the deaths in the chain gang or the physical deaths inside the property due to the conditions inside. honestly, I'm thinking at this point now, thousands is still conservative. But with that being said, would you believe the officials here had the audacity to only submit 8 documented hangings to the state of Florida? Now, with all those conditions, I don't believe it. I don't at all. And I'm sure you don't either. Now, I can't go into all 8. Go into a couple of them. But I'm going to encourage you, when you go upstairs, you see the guard tower right in front of you. Walk in there. Look over on my left-hand side. You'll see the full comprehensive list of all 8, their names, and the dates they lost their lives. Because you got men like Charlie Powell. He murdered a man who talked bad about his wife. And I guess someone called that chivalry. Or you have Sim Jackson. Now, I don't think he would have done anything like this for his wife. Sim Jackson's wife did not get along. And eventually one day he beat his wife insensibly. And as she lay there on the ground, despite her pleas, he sheathed a shaving razor. Now he took that razor and he would bury it in her throat. Where he would proceed to hack and hack until mostly severing her head from her body. So the only reason why he did not complete the deed, cut the very last tendon holding everything on, that blade broke on her collarbone. Now, if you think he's deplorable, honestly, guys, he's real tame compared to a man named George Hawkins. Now, George Hawkins was a serial stalker, a serial killer. And this man would wait on the outskirts of town for peddlers to go by. Now, he had a very signature way of taking out his victims, and it wasn't until he got sloppy at his last victim that they put it all together. Now, his last victim went by the name of Charles Joseph. Charles Joseph was a simple peddler. We're talking wares of no extreme value. You weren't making money off robbing him. But we're pretty convinced that was never really George Hawkins' motive, as he didn't live such a lavish lifestyle that would have indicated that he was truly robbing these guys. Now, one particular day, Charles Joseph was minding his own business, going by in his horse and wagon. Hawkins, posted up in some woods, notices this and senses there's an opportunity. When Charles is oblivious, minding his own business, Hawkins jumps on the back of that wagon. They briefly struggled, but Hawkins was a big guy and got the upper hand. The second he did, he wasted not an opportunity. He removes the knife from his back pocket and plunges it in Charles Joseph's navel. That's actually not where he stops. He then forcefully rips it all the way up to the throat. Now, some autopsies of victims indicated that in this action, it actually broke most of their sternums. Now, he takes that knife, drop it down, take his hands, rip the wound open as wide as possible, plunge his hands inside, and start ripping at everything that breaks loose. Now, after this man's done defiling the bodies of his victims, he always loads them back up on their own wagons. It's a body disposal unit, get rid of the evidence. And he did. So he took Charles Joseph, that horse, that wagon, far to the outskirts of town. Finds a nice little spot and he wants to get rid of it, yanks that body off, turns back to the horse, and walks off in the woods. But the horse had already been instinctively heading back towards its stables before, honestly, Hawkins ever interrupted this. So the horse completed that, headed back towards town, towards its stables. But y'all gotta understand, when it did, it left a really gory breadcrumb trail in its path. A couple locals saw this, reported back to Sheriff Joe. Joe followed all the way back. They would find George Hawkins dead asleep next to his very last victim, using the entrails as a pillow. Now, last thing I'd like to bring up, guys, is unique. Not only is the inaugural hanging of this property, it's a double hanging, but it illustrates the absolute perfect point that not everybody brought within this facility was guilty. Actually, the peak of the convict leasing system, you could basically contribute about 75%, if not higher, of the occupants in here were under trumped-up charges just to supply that chain gang. Now, this particular innocent man we're about to talk about went by the name of Robert Lee. Wrong thing Robert Lee was guilty of, he had bad taste in friends at the wrong time in his life. His best friend, James Kirby, botched a robbery and murdered a man. But instead of Kirby taking accountability for his actions, he'd passed the buck. Put some of that blame on Robert Lee. State Robert Lee was his accomplice. Sheriff Perry went, arrested both men, brought him back to here. They'd have him quite a quick trial, both be sentenced behind. Now, you gotta realize something about this facility. Unlike Alcatraz, or honestly, even most modern prisons that have an entire unit for death row, we have one singular cell. So if you have any number of murderers at any one given time period, they're placed in that exact same cell. So these 2 men were, for the next 30 days, placed in that one room. Now, in death row, they have 2 windows. One stares at a farmland, nothing really entertaining. But the other, right in between the bunks, stares at the spot that the gallows were being built. And it would be their blood, sweat, and tears responsible for building that device intended to end their own lives. In situations like that, I think any normal person would panic. And Kirby eventually did. And at his first opportunity, he told Sheriff Perry, look, I did, I'm guilty, but Robert's innocent. Let's be completely honest, the sheriff wouldn't believe him, but there's multiple factors that play into this. Number 1, it's an election year. We know politicians, we know where that's going from there. Number 2, he sold tickets to hangings. He would eventually become a millionaire from this property, was notorious for pinching every penny that was ever placed in front of him. He was not turning any of those tickets away. Now, on August 2nd, both men would be led to the gallows. They'd be placed side by side, and, well, this is when Robert Lee would take the chance to claim his innocence for the final time. Now, if you're curious, you'd like to do a little heavy research, you can still find this article digitally in the St. Augustine record. They were there, they documented everything. Now, they quoted Robert Lee as stating, "Though God is my witness, and I know I must face it, whether I'm guilty or whether I'm innocent. I am innocent. Let this serve as lesson to this town." Now, the ropeman said their piece of trapdoor did what it was built intended to do. It broke open, dropping both those souls to the earth, snapping necks both guilty and innocent. Now, guys, with that being said, just because the reported body count of this facility is not increased, don't mean those stories haven't. In our opinion, they've kind of actually ramped up a little bit more. You see, it's not uncommon, particularly for our daytime staff, to report things keep trying to push them down the stairs. Others report being scratched, pushed, kicked, punched, hair pulled. Things also like to mimic your name without you providing it. Heck, I was even choked in death row. But I'm not going to guarantee this will happen, and I will not guarantee it won't happen. This is an organic experience. What they decide to do is what they decide to do. We're just glorified guardians of the facility. Now, that being said, though, guys, I'd like to touch on some of our entities in here. Give you a nice little yin and yang presentation of it. We'll talk about something that's a little less intimidating, and then straight up go to the beastier one. Now, the first one I'll talk about is a mimic. And I'm sure you guys are already pretty aware of what mimics do. They just repeat things back like parrots. Now, this particular mimic got his nickname the Whistler, as he likes to repeat back Old Dixie and Whistle for. But like I said, that's not the only mimic in here, guys. I have mimics in here that like to mimic infants. I can tell you there's never been an infant on site here. Please be careful. Most mimics in this property are usually doing it to try to bait you, lure you into a false sense of security, vulnerability, and take advantage of that situation. That being said, though, let's talk about the one that you've probably heard on Ghost Hunters, Taps, Kindred Spirits, Paranormal Seekers. You name the company, you name the show, they've all addressed it. It's the crawler. Now, we have a lot of really heavyweight theories of what exactly the crawler is, but I'm not going to scare you with them. You want to know those? Pick our brains inside. But let's talk about the straight facts, exactly how we've documented it. Now, the very first way the crawler ever appeared, isolation, which is already an incredibly dark cell. But it's like someone takes a jar of ink, tosses it in the corner, and it bleeds out, absorbing light around it. Now, in the dead center of that incredibly dark mass, it looks palpable, like you can reach out and touch it. Another way that this particular entity likes to appear, I'm going to bring up this relatable movement example so you understand it. Do you know the movement of like small dogs or cats that like to serpentine around your feet and kind of trip you up a little bit? Now, it does a very similar motion to this, except it's not uncommon, particularly for us ladies, to report feeling sensational palm pressed against the side of our ankle, the slow articulation of fingers wrapping around it, followed by a aggressive and forceful tug towards the south. The way it got its nickname, a really uncomfortably disturbing way that we've seen it crawl up the walls and across the ceiling. It's not doing this to guide you anywhere, guys. It's doing this because it's curious about new energy. It's more or less trying to stalk you. We're pretty convinced this is actually an entity that likes to sit up across the stairs and likes to keep trying to push people down. Which wouldn't really scare us or shock us at this point. And last but not least, because of course it wants to be intimidating, it's going to appear every way possible. It likes to appear as an inmate. Now, this usually happens right before you go up the stairs because everybody checks the laces on their shoes. When you look down, if you're unlucky enough, there's an inmate laying in between your legs, staring right back up at you. Now, you will only be able to make out its eyes, and it's there for a second, and then gone. But we're talking about something that appears in a very vulnerable position to you. Now, that 1 second's enough to make you dumb at the night. And honestly, we'll never hold that against you. Now, do not feel, honestly, like you really need to provoke, bait, engage. Don't even try with this particular entity. It's not positive. It's quite malicious. Now, everybody usually asks, so how can I avoid it? Unfortunately, I have to let you know we've documented as far as San Marco, as high as the rooftop, even in the trolley depot you guys are sitting in right now. It does what it wants. There's a really heavy theory that this is actually the entity that forces everything else to stay here. That being said, though, guys, I know every time we go into this, a lot of people go, oh, well, this has got to be like a once in a blue moon occurrence. No. Last time we captured it, last night. Time before that, iHeartRadio 2 weeks ago, it decided to manipulate this girl's phone. Now, she had a business phone, had 2 different forms of security that it had to bypass, and it did. She wasn't paying attention to her phone, and when she did, though, she started seeing that it was rapidly shooting photos. In the background of those photos, she saw, I can only describe with my own eyes that I've seen it, this elongated head, elongated neck, gaunt shoulders, no muscle definition whatsoever, appears in the background and slowly starts coming to the forefront. Second it gets real close, eyes flash, kills the camera. Now, she ran down, plugged that phone into her wonderful car, got it charged back up. It still had the picture of its face and its eyes pop up real quick.
Oh, wow.
It's really disturbing. Now, time before that, a week before that, I had a girl from St. Petersburg with her wonderfully charming boyfriend. Now, she went to go take photos, and she noticed a flash going around. She yelled at him, "Stop taking photos. I want to take one." "I'm not taking anything." She looked down. The flash was actually her camera rapidly shooting photos. Now, she saw that same thing pop up in the background, that same figure, and it slowly came in the forefront, except without just stopping and flashing its eyes, and then gave what I could only and earnestly describe as the most sadistic Cheshire cat grin and killed her entire camera. She plugged it in and had that photo as well. Please, if you feel like you've encountered this, go the opposite direction, but I want those photos. I want them so bad. Now, that being said though, guys, I'm assuming you already have your cameras and cell phones on you. So, guys already know, dictate out roles. Have one person do audio, have one person do video and photography. Situate as much things and spread apart as possible so you guys collect as much data as possible. But since everybody's got a free hand and I got tools, let's talk about how to utilize these guys. Now, I know we can only give a brief tutorial on them, so if at any period of time you need any extra help, you want a refresher, pick our brains. First and oldest in the book, dowsing rods. These were first introduced to read the manipulation of electromagnetic fields caused by underground water sources and mineral contents. But the paranormal can manipulate those exact same fields. And since these are 99% copper rods and conductive, you will get a read from even the most slightest manipulation around you. Now, the best way to utilize this tool, make sure your hands are only on this little plastic right here. You do not impede the motion of the metal whatsoever. Keep it parallel to the ground, stand still, bounce your knuckles off each other, relax, and start asking your yes or no questions. But I'm going to let you know right now, even with the slightest breeze outside, it's not an effective outside tool. But inside, you're great with it. Now, best way to interpret this, and the way we've kind of trained them inside, like a door. If the door's open, that's a yes. The door closes, that's a no. If one rod pulls off to the side or both pull off to the side, that's usually a directional cue. At that point, it's either saying, hey, I'm over here, or go over here. If you don't feel comfortable going over there, I'm going to really tell you, don't do it. Listen to your fight or flight response. It's there for a reason. Now, the next one we're going to talk about, K2 meter. It's basically the same thing as dowsing rods, except it really doesn't allow you too much of an opportunity to ask yes or no questions, more or less a preliminary tool. It's going to let you know if something's around you, something manipulate those fields. But understand, your cell phones will manipulate these, as will man-made energy. Please don't put your phone too close to it. Usually, good rule of thumb, keep your phone at least a foot away from it, you'll be fine. With man-made energy though, walk around the room twice, same areas light up, debunk it. You walk into another portion of the room that did not have activity before and suddenly lights up, chances are that's an organic situation. If you're by yourself, take a lot of selfies, but clean the background in it. Where's the bad guy in every horror movie? Behind you, exactly. Or if it lights up in your friend's hand and they're not paying attention, snag a lot of photos of them because you might just have the best vacation photo ever. Now, some of the more modern tools that we have, thermal camera. This is simple, easy, plain, clear. And I'm gonna tell you this right now, don't waste your time pulling these triggers. There's no point. All it is providing two little lasers to let you know in between that space, that's where you're getting to read. You don't need to do that though, as it's already doing everything it needs for you. What I'm going to encourage you to do with this device though, record the screen at all times. That way you don't have to rely on your reaction time to snag your evidence. Now don't look for only humanoid forms. Most cold spots, most hot spots, kinetic energy spike ups, form and abstract shapes. If you're in a 60-degree room with a 20-degree corner, my dear, that is something documented. And be careful. We have a lot of mannequins in this facility. You'll notice these have leashes on them, and it's for a reason. A lot of people get scared and drop them. Please be nice to the fleurs. They'll be nice to you. And last but not least, my absolute favorite in our arsenal, the spirit box. Now, if you guys have never utilized an open-ended conversational device, or if you have, you'll know this is awesome. You are here because you want to get things like EVPs or things like apparitions. This will facilitate your ability to obtain those EVPs. Now, the quick science behind this, two separate channels, both engaged or in reverse at a high rate of speed. If nothing is engaging this device, you will hear straight white noise. But I'm going to let you know this right now. If you hear any deviation in that white noise, tones, pauses, pitches, voices, instrumentals, that is something purposely taking the device, stalling it, forcing it forwards, and cherry picking from the radio airwaves exactly what it wants to articulate to you. It's awesome. Now, do audio recording right next to that device at all times. There are a million different features in there, but they didn't include a voice recorder. Now, I say this because it takes so much energy for things to come through that a lot of times your first initial evidence is quite faint. You won't be able to understand it, so if you have that audio, you can play it back when you go home and really try to figure out what they're saying. Or they say it so loud and clear as day, they waste all their energy, cannot connect with you again, and if you didn't have that voice recording, you have lost that opportunity to really try to figure out exactly what they're saying to you. Now, it's not uncommon on this device, guys, like I said, things will call your names out without you providing it. Don't be alarmed. Start asking questions. Don't be shy and timid with that box. Talk. Really, really honestly talk. Ask all those intrusive questions that strangers ask you that you don't want to answer. Start prying into their personal life. Prying into exactly what they did to get themselves in here. You would be absolutely, utterly stunned the amount of evidence we get through this device. It's actually not uncommon for people that come to this particular investigation report. They've actually communicated with individuals from their past that have no bearings on this property whatsoever. There's a quite heavy theory that there's a certain portal that exists in this facility. That would be the only reason that would explain why half these people have encountered any of their deceased relatives. Now, with that being said, though, guys, if you have any questions, if you need any extra help in any of these devices, please pick our brains. And you're not going to weird us out by your questions. Trust me, we probably have thought of weirder ones. We're weirdos. But with that being said, I'm going to point out some of the external features of this facility. Then we'll go inside and have a grand old time. Now, this entire southern right-hand wing is what we call the residential wing. This bottom floor is the sheriff's office. This top floor was whoever the elected sheriff, this is his private bedroom. This right here, believe it or not, at one period of time, was the room Sheriff Perry kept his children in. We're talking single-digit children that lived right by general population. Now, it was later turned into deputies' quarters, but let's be honest, we're far more concerned with the trauma those kids endured than what those deputies did. Now, right up here, and this northern wing, this top floor, is going to be general population. Now, you're welcome to the bottom level of the two-layer general population. Unfortunately, the top layer is structurally compromised and unable to be accessed. Now, this bottom floor right here contains maximum security, but it also has, behind those two windows, the kitchen. Beyond those two windows, isolation. Those windows are only for the comfort of those on the outside, not the inside. And one particular cell of max security. Okay, guys, y'all ready?
Yes.
So we are now back here where the cells are. This is where death row is. I think she said right here to the right. And Rebecca has the PSV 11 on right now. Hello. We are here to communicate with you tonight. These beds, imagine that, having to sleep like that. Oh my God. Is it? Your EMF did? Let me see.
Are there any spirits in this room? If so, please touch the key to EMF.
Or any of our cameras.
Come back this way.
Hi, my name's Jenny. I'm Rebecca.
Alright, there's too many of us filming in here. We're gonna have to go to another area.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are in here in the what was Sheriff Joe Perry's office. And as we were walking in here, there was another girl coming out because she said she got a little spooked, that she heard something and that she saw a light flicker or something. I wonder what light she's talking about.
I think it's the one to your left.
Oh.
That one was just turning on and off.
You just kind of look around and see if I see anything with the FLIR camera. Not picking up anything with it just yet.
Keep feeling something's touching my back.
You do?
Yeah, like up on my left shoulder.
Alright, Brock said he feels something. Oh, that light is so bright. Turn it down some. Hello there. I'm looking to speak to the spirit of Joe Perry, if you're here. I can hear the voices of some of the others. Let me try this over here. Don't see anything. I don't see anything in here just yet.
I really think you need to check my shoulder. It's getting really weird.
What?
Check my left shoulder.
What is it?
I keep feeling like I'm being touched. Can you like pull my shirt up and check my left shoulder?
Are you serious?
Yeah, like right around here. I keep feeling like I'm being like touched. I don't know.
Oh my God, I don't see anything. I mean, it looks red right in here.
Yeah, it's right around where I keep feeling it.
Hello? I think he said he felt like he was being touched and he's got a big red spot right there. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's just really uncomfortable.
He said, he was just telling me, he says, come check my shoulder. He goes, I feel like, take a look at it and see what you think. Let her look at it, Brock.
Lower them, like, really, like.
I know. Oh my God, no.
Hold on, let me take a picture so I can show you real quick.
No way.
So I was actually burned by a cigarette in this room.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I probably shouldn't have brought him here.
No, it's all good. It's not painful. It's just really weird.
I'm gonna show you real quick. 1, 2, 3.
Oh my God.
1, 2, 3.
Holy crap.
So from like the corner of your scapula
Mm-hmm.
down over towards your flank.
Yeah, I was just feeling it up in the corner of my left shoulder.
Yeah, because you can see you're red up there too.
It's red up there, Brock. I need to get him out of this room. I have some holy water, but I think it's in the car.
Yeah.
So that's supposed to be the mannequin of Joe Perry?
Yeah, that's his life size kind of.
Wow, he was a big dude.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, well I left my grandson Brock down there with the tour lady Colleen. And I have this young lady here with me. What's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah with me. And Sarah's mother is down there with Brock as well. So she's taking care of my grandson and I'm taking care of her daughter. Guns used in crimes. Oh, wow. All right, so let's walk around in here and see if we hear anything. So you're going to use your dowsing rods? Do you know how to use them?
I think you're supposed to open
Yeah. Which way are we supposed to go? Which way should we go? Point in the direction we should go. It's not doing nothing. Okay, well, we'll just walk around. Hello? My name is Patty. Would you like to communicate with me? I have some devices that you can talk to me. Let's go ahead and go right in here. That way we can sit down. Okay, so we're upstairs now in an area where it was general population, and there's like a big table here. It's kind of in the middle, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little filming here, do a little spirit box. I do have the EMF meter sitting there, as well as the REM pod, and I have the floor camera out. I'm going to turn the spirit box on. I'm a little bit worried about my grandson. We are putting holy water on him and everything. He's sitting downstairs with the tour guide, Colleen, right now, and a woman named Bobby Joe, who her daughter is actually with me right now. All right, here we go. Hello there. Who's with us? Would you like to communicate with me tonight? Hello? What's the matter? You don't want to talk? Can someone tell me who scratched my grandson Brock? Who did that? Nothing is coming through. Absolutely nothing. That's weird. Hello? Is there anybody here with me tonight? Upstairs? I see something right in that area over there. I don't know if this is coming out very clear on the camera, but I do see something. And it froze it and got a picture of it. Well, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off because I'm really not getting anything, so we'll just kind of listen for other sounds and maybe disembodied voices and things like that. Can you make the REM pod go off for me, please? Can you show me that you're here? Okay, you're not going to show me you're here. I'm going to walk around. Thank you. Wow, does that ever look real? Kind of freaked me out a little bit for a minute. All right. Oh, wow, they have little replicas throughout the jail of what it may have looked like back in the day. Wow. So you thought you heard something over here?
No, I thought I saw something.
Oh, really? Where?
When we were sitting over there by the window, I saw somebody get up. It was a girl, but none of us were moving at the time.
Really?
And like the shirts we were wearing, it was like a purple and pink shirt.
Show me where.
Okay. And this window right here.
Oh, really? You saw it in the window?
Yeah. It was like sitting at that exact place too.
Oh, wow. And then there was nobody.
There was nobody.
Yeah, and this is upstairs, too. So it's not like somebody could have walked past the window, you know? Hello, you can come talk to me through my camera. I'll hear you if you'd like your voice to be heard. Did you hear that? What the hell was that? Is that you tapping? Can you do that again? Now that room where my grandson got scratched, wasn't you the one that was walking out because you thought you heard something or seen something? Okay, there was somebody else then. There was a girl that was walking out, and she said that she couldn't stay in there, that she felt something weird.
When you were over there when you were saying tap, I heard like a faint whisper saying tap, tap, tap.
Really?
Yeah, like you could barely hear it though.
There's some cells up there too, but I don't want to walk up those stairs. All right, well, we'll go check out a different area. And then what's in here?
This is the living quarters.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever...
This is the kids' room.
Oh,
His room's great.
this was the kids' room right here. Look at this.
Yep.
Wow. Gosh, that looks so realistic. Wow. They got it all set up. They even got their whiskey out here and everything. Hey there, buddy. How you doing? How you doing? So this must have been the bedroom, huh? Oh wow, looks like a real person laying there sleeping. I would shit if it jumped up. Wow. This looks so realistic. Damn. So this was the bedroom. I bet we'll get some activity in here. Let's set up the REM pod.
Yeah, I heard that.
I just heard that. I couldn't get my camera on quick enough. I swear I just heard this bed move. You heard it too, right?
I heard that, yeah.
And I don't even know this girl. I just met her tonight. I mean, but you heard that.
I really heard
Okay.
it, yeah.
Whew, I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. I had turned my camera off for just a minute so I could set up the REM pod. So we'll listen, see if we hear that again. Hello, was that you? You letting us know you're here? It's one thing about the tours, these investigations with 10 people. It does get a little bit noisy. Everybody's walking around filming. Hello? I have a REM pod sitting over there on your dresser. Can you please go over there close to it and light it up for me, please? I don't need that on. Oh, yes, I do too. We just heard something by the bed moving. Was that you? Hello? Sheriff, are you here with us tonight? Who scratched my grandson? Who scratched my grandson? Can you tell me who did that? Were you trying to hurt him?
Yep.
That light up there flashing. We heard the bed move when we first came in here. Her and I both heard it, yeah. It actually moved. Can you move the bed again? Why are you still here at the jail? Garden? The meter's going off. My REM pod's going off. Get closer to it and make it light all the way up. There's some green and red, yellow lights, blue lights. Can you go light the whole thing up? Get as close to it as possible. Get a little closer to it. I'm going to turn this off. All right, well. I didn't mean to blind you with my light.
Oh, no, you're good. You got good lights to make my flashlight nothing.
Brock got scratched.
What?
He got 3 scratches not long after we got here. Yeah, that's why he's sitting down there with her right now. We've got to put holy water on him when we get to the car.
Okay.
I contacted my friend James, that is a demonologist.
Yeah.
And told me what all I need to do.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, right away, like as soon as we went into I'll show you where it happened. What did I just say?
Owie. I go, who scratched Brock? And he said, owie.
That wasn't very nice.
What's your name?
He's just a child. There was no reason for you to do that.
Speaker's in my pocket, so.
I'm out of breath in here. I feel like I can't breathe.
Yeah. Who scratched Brock?
I did? Did that just say I did?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Huh?
What's this working the flashlight?
It stopped working?
Oh, We'll show you pictures. It was really cool. It shut off on demand.
Yeah, it kept shutting off on demand and would not let keep my bright light on.
Oh, wow.
They didn't want it.
Wow.
Well, we're gonna leave.
And then her little light,
Again, that's
Turn
not
on
very
the
nice
light.
to you.
and you have to push the button to turn on. It's not
Go.
working
They
right.
just said go.
Yeah, we're going to go.
We're going.
We're going to go and we're going to say a prayer for my grandson.
Yeah, I gotta get out of this
Wasn't
room.
very nice of you.
Don't have to do it again.
Brock, you okay? You sure? Okay.
We were just keeping him entertained.
We're right here.
Okay.
Okie dokie, guys.
Brock, you see something?
No.
Everybody have an interesting time?
Yeah, it was very interesting. I'm just worried about him right now.
Or no, they don't like bright lights.
So Gen Pop doesn't mind it. The boys that appear in Death Row absolutely and utterly hate
I
them.
kept turning mine off.
They hate them. We've had multiple times they pop up on the spirit box saying that they absolutely hate that blue flashing light that comes into their cell. They can't stand it. I have a heavy duty ion lithium battery one that I steal from my husband. They drain this on a regular basis if I go in with it on. In there, yeah, they don't like the light.
Yeah, they
Yeah, they
said
kept telling me they said no light.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Yeah, they were witnesses to it.
That's another reason why I've been trying to push them, like, let's have, in October, let's have a complete lights off investigation, because
Yeah.
there are so many entities reporting that they hate it. Let's see what happens.
What
if
happened
we
to
let
you?
them have what they want.
She got
Let's
a
see if they get
bruise.
more energy. We're not
What?
really- We're not aggravating.
Yep, you sure
We're
do.
letting them have their.
She's got a
their
bruise.
personal environment.
She's smiling. Does she?
Here back.
This, I try to encourage it as much as I can. I'm
So
so
the
scared
two
of
people
it. Try
choose the
to
sites
do
of all
the
the
best
ones
I can
that
when I
Alex
can.
Yeah. Now,
so much
she saw
stronger than
something
me.
up there. She did see something. She said she looked like what looked like a woman get up out of a seat or something by the window area. Is that right? She probably is. Brock is too, and that's probably why he got scratched.
Guys, you guys already know.
Whenever we
Don't
go-
delete anything based on what you see on your phone. Seriously, do not delete anything what you see on your phone. Take everything, hook it up to a laptop, hook the laptop up through the HDMI port to a good resolution screen, smart TV. You can basically still get one of those HDMI ports. You can probably pull it from like your Xfinity box and plug it in. So you don't have to buy anything.
So my grandson Brock, who's 14 years old, got scratched. Her daughter, who's 13 years old, got a bruise. Show you a bruise?
That's just crazy.
yeah, it's the young ones.
Did you feel something
I
grabbing
didn't
you?
feel any. So when we were upstairs, I swear I felt something like tickle my ankle, but I didn't really think about it. And then I felt something brush up my back when we were up in the room, but I thought it was just my hair. But it didn't feel. It felt like something brushing up against me, like walking past me.
Wow.
And that's when the little things that went yellow.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I felt on my left shoulder. All I kept feeling was like someone tapping on me.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
And it started getting really uncomfortable, so I told my grandma to check it, and it turns out I was getting really badly scratched.
Yeah.
When we were walking
Yeah.
up the stairs,
We wasn't in there
like, I felt
long.
like-
I
No,
was
they-
freezing.
leg when I was walking.
The way they manifest in this facility is wild. Absolutely
Where's the
wild.
hottest
And you-
spot in the front
So
building or the?
it varies, but within documentation-wise, within the past 3.5, 4 weeks, it's been the entire residential wing has been an absolute flare-up.
Wow.
Absolute flare-up.
Oh, I just felt something touch my head.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, woo! I just felt that. Wow. Okay, you're letting us know you're here, aren't you? All right.
To get out when we were in there.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So, and you said that he's not the first one to get scratched
No,
here.
not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
It happens so much in this
You're the
facility.
chosen
And
one.
honestly, there's no variance in night and daytime. We get so many reports in daytime that it happens, so many reports in nighttime that it happens. It's just, it does what it wants.
And who do you think it is? What do you think?
So in the sheriff's office, I usually point towards authority figures.
Okay.
It's very uncommon for you to see poltergeist activity from any of the inmates in there just because they don't manifest their energy that strongly in there.
Okay.
Usually you'll see the manifestation of like inmate energy really, really strong in Gen Pop or down in isolation or death row.
Okay.
Medical gets a little like emotionally draining and stuff like that, but your poltergeist physical aggression really is really, really heavy up and through that particular wing. But then again, there's
Okay.
also a theory that there's a botched exorcism in the children's bedroom, which is opened up just this level of toxic.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's Fran.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
He's
Okay.
He's getting everything closed up for me. But yeah, we've noticed the more malicious poltergeist activity does tend to be within that particular wing. But then again, I mean, we're talking about areas that no one was allowed to be in anyways.
Right.
So you have figures that appear in there very, very angry. They get very, very aggressive, knowing that we've turned this into basically a show. That they're not getting their acknowledgement for being these long, amazing, predominant figures in the community that they once were. We're showing them
We were
that they
asking them to
truly
tell
are.
their story.
Oh yeah, no, the deputies and the sheriff don't have to, because their story's already written. But
Do you smell that? I smell strong urine.
yep.
Okay.
you smell urine?
Yeah, really strong.
Come to
Oh.
this facility. Sometimes when you come to this facility, you can smell when the bathing day of the month happens.
Oh, wow.
It's not like you walk into Max and you'll smell what, and it's not like they take heavy water and clean the facility. You can't. But it'll suddenly smell like large soap and mildew, and it's in like wet clothes. And you can always, it's always like a certain time of month too. It's always like a
Yeah.
big month. One day it's real heavy and then it goes away.
Wow.
It's the bathing day.
Yeah, the bathing day.
Bathing day.
Yep.
Well, thank you again for your
Oh, no
time. I
problem.
appreciate that.
No problem at all.
I'm trying to think if there's any other questions I needed to ask her. Has anybody ever gotten possessed from being here that you know of?
So the only individual that claimed possession had his own particular demons, so we don't give it too much weight.
Okay.
We get multiple reports of piggybacks, but no true earnest possession.
Okay, gotcha.
Extreme serotonin, dopamine depletions though.
Okay.
Like absolute empathic drains. But not necessarily like your classic possession where like it's that personality change, it's the loss of time and stuff like that.
Okay.
No, I haven't read.
Okay.
No.
I didn't think so. I've never heard of any.
We've quite a few reports of what we'd consider demonic-esque activity, but not
Okay.
possession.
Gotcha. Okay.
In the classic sense.
Do you guys have poltergeist in here?
Oh, all the time.
Really?
All
Okay.
the time. All the time.
Have you ever seen anything fly like through the kitchen or anything?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
So I've had quite a few clairvoyants come in. Things get drawn to me a lot. I had this one clairvoyant come in. She's like, you know, you have like 6 things that follow you. And she started listing them all out, and we're like, she starts listing my dead mom that passed away my senior year of high school that I don't tell people about. She started listing my unofficial godmom who was Cherokee who passed away, and like describing these women to a T. And then she's like, oh, and the little 10-year-old boy that's next to you all the time. I'm like, I don't talk about this entity. How do you know about this? She's like, oh, the little 10-year-old boy, how he likes to lace his fingers in between yours all the time. Like, okay, I really don't like this. How do you know that?
Chills.
But
Wow,
it is,
yeah.
He appears all the time when I'm in here. I'm the only mom of the paranormal investigative team, and he was a Native American boy that was pulled from his family, as you guys kind of know back in how that worked. They were pulled from my family, given a Christian name. He
Right.
had an apprenticeship in town. He was falsely accused of murder by 2 people. He didn't do it, brought in here, but when the state government found out they were about to hang a 10-year-old boy, they told Sheriff Perry he ain't doing it. So the sheriff's like, fine, I won't. But he gave the heads up to the 2 people that accused him of it, exactly when he was letting this kid out. So this was the back door. The parking lot you guys parked in was our farmland. Let him out the back door and told him to run. That kid did not make it about halfway off before he was shot dead.
Oh my
But he still appears.
God.
Here's the one that we captured right in front of isolation as a shadow.
Aw.
Yeah, he touches like
That's
once in a
sad.
while with me, but for the most part, like he knows I don't like being physically touched. That's just how I am normally as a person.
Yeah.
I stay
I'm the
down
same way. I don't
bit.
like to be touched either.
Yeah, even my husband's like, what the heck? I'm like, no, be gone.
Right.
But yeah, he is usually like right up on me. Man, I've seen things all the time. There's
Because
a
you're
lot
like a mother figure. I mean, you have a child,
and
and that's probably what it
I've
is.
gotten in touch with we have an auntie Sarah. I can pull up the full apparition photo we have of her.
Oh.
Sarah
Oh.
was brought in here and trumped up charges. She was pregnant with twin boys. She starved herself, lost the twins. But she is very, 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 very vocally active. So I'm gonna pull this mask up over here. Okay, so you look at the back portion of the jail. That's gonna be your residential wing, guard tower,
down through the hallway.
Okay.
Jen, the woman's cell, very last cell in there.
Whoa! Wow!
We have sent that off
Wow.
to so many experts, and as you can see, there's no way you can Photoshop that.
No,
She's placed behind the plane of the glass
absolutely
and behind.
There's no way you can.
Oh
Wow,
my god.
that's amazing.
You can even see her holding the bars
Yes.
and everything.
Yes, you can.
She has like
Oh
a
my
white
God.
on her.
Oh yeah, now mind you, this is actually a poor resolution of this. So the original one was taken by our maintenance guy with a flip phone. The original photo that he showed me, you could see the detail of her hair, the curly texture of it, how narrow her jawline was, how petite her nose was, her brow bone, her neck, her negligee. Literally, you can see the shift function of her like prison dress, how it was those tank top dresses, everything. I have 3 hours worth of nonstop back and forth with her where I do her identifying questions. As you guys know, multiple different patterns, all different ways. She answers them repeatedly the same every
Wow.
time. She is so impressive. She is the strongest manifesting female on this property, and she tends to protect the other females. And it's not uncommon for her to protect living females. You have a spirit box and an aggressive male comes through. It's not uncommon to hear Sarah pop up and go, "Stop, leave her alone."
Oh wow.
They're so protective.
Wow. I've had that happen to me before where spirits have told to leave her
She's
alone.
also, because she loves pregnant women, if you have a pregnant woman in her cell, she'll pull their shirt over their like late trimester bellies. She'll rub backs when they go through Braxton Hicks
Oh my
contractions.
God.
She'll play with hair, she'll rub shoulders.
Wow.
She's probably one of the most nurturing entities I have ever earnestly encountered
Wow.
in my
Is it cold?
There's a cold spot. I'm freezing.
Really?
Yeah.